The Everglades of Pain, and the Suffering Eyes. Introduction. Once, there was a family, the Henrikses, who decided to vacation to the dense forest of the Everglades. This forest is very isolated outside of the camping areas and has had a lot of missing people, most being hikers that have been assumed lost on the trails. The family hadn't had a vacation in quite some time and was eager to get away from the bustling city. Little did they know the terror that awaited them. Chapter 1. The family was stopping to fill up at the last gas station before the campgrounds. Right after the vehicle stopped, the children were already wrenching the gas station door open, with excitement of goodies. With a grin on his face, yelling after his kids, David said, "Hurry guys, it's getting dark in an hour, and I want to get the RV hooked up while I can still see." "David, don't rush them too much. We did promise them a drink and a candy, and we get a small break," Janet said, with a guilty grin. "You're right, dear," winking and smiling in return, David said, "I'm just pretty excited. Finally, we get some family time and to be in the great outdoors. Also, I do want to hook the RV up in the light, because I've mostly watched YouTube tutorials on it." "Oh dear, does that mean we won't have power or water? You know, because you don't know how to hook it up?" Janet said with an evil smile. "Oh wow, no faith in me, huh?" he said as he met her eyes with a warm feeling in his heart, thinking of just how much he loved her. "Well, more like it reminds me of the remodeling you did in our bathroom. You know, with the help of, YouTube tutorials," she said teasingly. "Wow, I thought you liked the shower head being lower. Something about it not spraying your face, if I remember right," David said, knowing she was goading him on. "Oh dear, David. I'm pretty sure I said it was something I could find to like about it. You know, being positive." As the gas station door opens, interrupting their conversation, the oldest child yells, "Mom, Jeff is trying to buy 3 items, not just the 2 that you said he could get." "David, so much for our break. Would you watch Conrad while I take care of Jeff?" "Sure thing, honey. He's still in the car seat, right?" "Yes, he is. I'll be right back." As Janet was walking to the gas station to take care of Jeff, and David was filling the vehicle, Conrad, who was in his car seat at the age of 4, was staring into the border of the forest with ever-growing fear as he seen 2 large, round yellow eyes looking directly at his father. Then his fear grew as the eyes slowly turned to gaze at him. They were lifeless and empty, aside from a sheer wickedness of them. Conrad's fear hit a bursting point after a solid minute of the eyes gazing directly into his. No longer able to hold on to his emotions, Conrad burst into tears while screaming like never before. David, hearing his son's screams, thinking that Conrad had hurt himself, ran to the side of the truck that his son was on, unbuckled his car seat, picked him up, and looked him over and tried to calm him down. Rose, the oldest sibling, just reached her dad as he was trying to calm her brother down. She looked towards the direction that Conrad was cowering from and thought she had seen something yellow shift by one of the trees, but couldn't truly see anything. "Wow, Dad, he's really upset, isn't he? I can't see anything wrong with him. I think he just got spooked. Would you hold on to him so I can take care of the gas?" "Okay, Dad," as he handed Rose Conrad and went back to filling the vehicle. Rose tried to calm Conrad down. "Shh, it'll be okay, buddy. Shh, it's okay," while bouncing him. "What's wrong with Conrad, honey?" said Janet. "I don't know, Mom. Dad said he thinks he got spooked because he couldn't see anything wrong with him." "Here, let me hold him, Rose." "Okay, Mom." "Conrad, what's wrong, honey? Can you tell Mommy what happened?" "Scary eyes," said Conrad in his teary voice. "Scary eyes?" Janet confirmed, exaggerating it. "Mm-hmm," Conrad said as he nodded his head. "It's okay, honey. Mom will never let those scary eyes hurt you. It'll be okay." She kissed him on his forehead to calm him down. With too much attitude, Jeff said, "Mom, you said I could have 2 candies and a soda." "Jeff, I said you could have 2 candies or a candy and a soda. Also, don't forget to whom you're talking to, or you may not be getting anything." "But Mom, I want 2 candies and a soda." "You've had your answer now. Hurry up. We do need to set the RV up before it's too dark." "Fine, but I'm getting a big candy and a soda." "That was always fine to do, honey. But again, watch your attitude," Janet said to Jeff as he was walking back to the gas station. "Should we give him a punishment?" said David, walking up to her. "No, I think it'll be easier once we get set up and he can burn off some energy. Anyways, I don't want to make sure he follows his punishment on vacation," Do you? No, but his attitude has been pretty bad lately at home and school. Maybe once we get back, if he doesn't do better on vacation, we'll lock down some punishments. Yes, that would probably be best. Rose, walking up to her parents while eavesdropping, said, "What are you guys talking about, Mom?" "That," Janet said as she lifted her eyebrow, "is between your father and I, Rose." "Okay, Mom," she said as she rolled her eyes. "Anyways, we're ready to go now, and Jeff just got back in." "Sweet!" David exclaims as he passed the RV. "Back on the road for another 30 minutes, and I get hooked this bad boy up." "Wow, Dad, I wish you loved us that much," Rose said sarcastically. "Well, if you could house all 5 of us, I just might, you smart alley cat. Now get back into the vehicle," David said with an all too fatherly face. As Rose walked back to the vehicle, David looked at Conrad, now sleeping in his mother's arms, and asked with concern, "What was wrong with Conrad, honey? I've never heard one of our children scream like that before." "He said he's seen scary eyes. I don't know what he's seen, but it was a pretty good scream. I was talking to Jeff when I heard him. I came right out because..." Janet pauses and smiles as she continues. "I thought he got hurt. I was thinking, oh no, I shouldn't have left David in charge. What has he done now?" "Oh, right back into it, I see. Looks like I'm going to have to get some retribution in on you. Maybe a couple of those jump scares I know you love oh so much." David smiled as he knew he had won the war. David, no. We talked about this, and we said no more jump scares. You know I can't handle the intensity that you pull those stunts with." "Well, I guess we did talk about that, but you're teasing pretty hard. I mean, implying that I mess most things up with YouTube tutorials?" He paused, letting the tension build in the air. Janet, not being able to control herself when she gets into a teasing mood, said, "Well, you did mess up the shower." "Oh, that's it. I'm gonna get you good." Okay, I'm sorry. I went too far, David. I'm humbly apologizing," Janet said, knowing she had already gone too far. Let's go, honey. The kids are ready, and we've spent plenty of time waiting here. And I will be contemplating the best way to scare you," he said while making a scary face. Unbeknownst to the family, that a pair of eyes peered upon them just beyond the trees. These eyes had no soul, and a hungering gaze of 1,000 starving wolves. Watching intently, already gathering information on how to hunt them down. This was an ancient creature, long before man had arrived within its depths, its realm being disturbed, its hunger ravenous and unsated. It drooled with an intense suffering. It has felt that suffering for far too long. Chapter 2. Riding to a Rival. Jeff was sitting in the back seat with his 2 siblings, drinking a large bottle of mellow yellow, with a sugar high and gazing slack-eyed out the window, pretending that there was a guy running alongside the vehicle doing parkour, when all of a sudden he noticed 2 large, round yellow orbs. No, they were eyes, moving alongside the vehicle. With a stroke of fear wrenching him out of his sugar-induced fog, he realized that this was not normal. Looking to his older sister, who was on her Nintendo Switch, he said, "Rose, look out my window. Do you see the yellow eyes?" Annoyed, Rose said, "Jeff, leave me alone." Conrad, who was sitting in the middle, said, "Scary eyes?" Not scary, just eyes," said Jeff, trying to keep his voice calm. Starting to cry, Conrad said, "Yellow scary eyes," pointing outside the window. Rose, being the older sister, said, "Jeff, that's not funny. Stop trying to scare Conrad." "I'm not trying to scare Conrad. Look out my window," Jeff exclaimed. Looking up from her game, Rose said, "Where? I see nothing." "Right there," Jeff said, slowly looking and seeing no eyes. "But they were just there, I swear." "Mom, Jeff is trying to scare Conrad with those yellow eyes." "No, I'm not." "Jeff, that isn't funny. Conrad was really shaken up about that earlier." Not knowing any details on why his brother screamed earlier, and now feeling royally misunderstood, said with too much attitude and anger, "I am not trying to scare Conrad with the eyes. I didn't even know why he screamed earlier. You guys are blaming me for something I didn't even know." "Jeff, you need to calm down. Stop playing games. Your brother isn't going to get any sleep tonight if you keep this up." "But Dad, I'm not trying to scare Conrad. I actually seen something." "You probably had just seen some lights in the campgrounds we're coming up on." "I mean, I don't know. They looked like they're running alongside the truck, Dad." "Well, I don't think there's anything around these parts that can run 60 miles an hour while looking at the truck, Jeff. And these lights are yellow, as you can see now." As the truck rounded the turn, Jeff could see the lights down into the campgrounds. His father was right. The lights were yellow, but Jeff didn't think they were the same, and was sure that it had seen eyes. But as his dad said, how could eyes be keeping up with the truck while staring into the window? Jeff, not sure now, accepted his father's explanation. It felt a lot more comforting that the lights were playing tricks on his eyes versus him actually seeing eyes. Also, eyes didn't emit light, they reflected light. Now, slowly starting to feel silly about himself, Jeff said, "Yeah, I think you're right, Dad. I don't know. The lights must have been playing tricks on me. I mean, eyes don't emit light, do they, Dad?" He said more as a statement than a question. "Not any eyes that I'm aware of, son." "Alright, guys," David said excitedly. "Ready or not, here we are. Let me pay for the fee and I'll be right back." As the truck pulled into the campgrounds, you could see a well-lit space for parking and a booth set aside from the forest. A forest that large trees cast into darkness. Hidden within the darkness, the all-knowing, the all-consuming darkness, void of light, the pain, the suffering eyes. Those large, yellow eyes gazing upon the family with hunger. It was not time yet to consume, to once again feel that which it hungered. That which its truth is beyond the knowing that has been true for eons and eons before humans have even existed. For which it hungered, only the bonds of the Creator has known, as the true path of humanity, that which its kind had consumed and used within their greed, that in which all creatures had been created, but his kind ruined it all, and now all that it can do is grasp and feed off of humans like a parasite. The Father is his. "Hello, sir. How's everything going today?" David said to the boothman. "Oh, it's been a pretty good day. Looks like you're gonna need an RV hookup. Let me see. Okay, looks like your RV spot is gonna be Z1. I hope you're okay with that being alone in your own area, as we don't normally use Z camping spots. It's our last zone. Also, before I forget, we won't have any management for the next 2 days. It's holiday and you're the last guest for the campgrounds. Oh, it'll be 30 for the weekend." David pulled a $20 and a $10 bill as he said, "Okay, here you go. So, you guys are pretty full then, huh?" "Yes, we broke a record yesterday for this time of year actually," the boothman said as he took the money. "Okay, everything should be good. I'll be leaving in 30 minutes if you need anything before I go." "Alright, thanks, man." Chapter 3, Campground of the Ever After. "Okay, here we go, guys. Guess what? We get a whole camping zone to ourselves. Isn't that awesome? We don't have to worry about noises or being too loud," Janet said, as David was backing the RV into place. "That's exactly how I feel," he said while putting the truck in park. "Okay. Man, finally get to put all that YouTube knowledge to work," he said, smiling at his wife. "Oh boy, my genius husband about to put some of that YouTube tutorial knowledge to use," she said slyly. Oh dear, what would I do without you, honey?" "I don't know, honestly. Probably just get stuck looking for something in the fridge for eternity." "Oh my god. Mom, Dad, get a room," Rose said, feeling embarrassed. "I'm sorry, honey. I hated it when my parents showed affection too. But what can I say? Your mom, she's got it going on." Now blushing, Janet said, "David, get the RV hooked up, you silly fool. I'll make us some food." "Okay, sweet thing," he said with a smile. As Janet was stepping into the RV, she thought to herself, "Oh, how I love David. My love, my husband, my forevermore until death do us part." The day she met David was the day she knew life was right. Then her kids came. First Rose, then Jeff, and now their sweet baby Conrad. Everything in the world was as it was meant to be. She truly couldn't be happier. She was ready to live into old age, sit outside on their porch, watching her grandchildren run and play. A smile sat on her face as she went about making food. Meanwhile, Conrad was daydreaming a wonderful dream. What this dream was cannot be structured. All that really had was color and feeling. Warm hues and love. His mommy, daddy, big sis, and Jeff were all there. Happily twitching, with a smile on his face, Conrad supped away. Rose was getting the bed ready as she kept an eye on Conrad, who was snoozing on one she'd made previously. Rose, being 15, was really happy to see her parents tease each other in their love. It felt right. She truly is happy to have the father and mother she has. Her memories of camping in a tent were never fun, which is why she's already in love with the RV. But being with her family was always the best. Even though her brothers were always annoying, she truly did love them. Jeff was a twerp, but Conrad, he was pretty sweet. She's truly happy that they're on vacation together. Jeff, being 11, was already picking out sticks to be his swords for the duration of the vacation. Jeff was really happy to be in the woods. It was the only time he felt that his parents let him be who he was. To go wild, build fires with his dad, and eat marshmallows. These are the best times that he treasures. He knows that he's sometimes difficult and unreasonable. He doesn't really know why. He doesn't want to get that way. But he really does love his family. His mom and dad, they're the best. Rose is a good sister. She's protected him from bullies at school, even though he told her he didn't need her help. Conrad, his little brother, I want to protect him. Be a big good brother, you know? He thinks to himself as he continues to fight invisible enemies with his sword. David hooking up the sewage, thinking that it's finally time to relax and be with his family. My wife, my daughter, and 2 sons. I would do anything for them. I love them to the extreme of what I understand love to be. Sure, things are rough sometimes. Little sleep, lots of work, but that's life. Also, that allows us to do these trips. These are really the best times. Sleeping with the birds chirping, marshmallows, campfires. It's a really good time. David finished the hookups feeling content and was ready to eat. Chapter 4. It's time. The family gathered at the table, love for each other, fit to burst, and ready to eat. The smell of love permeating the camping area was strong. The creature knew it was time to start the ritual. As the family was eating, the power flickered in the RV and shut down. Janet pulled out her phone for light and looked at David with a smirk on her face. I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. I hooked the power up right. The YouTube tutorials didn't fail me. It's gotta be in the campground end. Laughing, Janet said, I didn't say anything, honey. Not one word at all. Dad, are you gonna get the lights back on? Well, I hope so. I don't know what's wrong. I'll have to go look. We'll be fine, kids. Wow, it really is dark outside, isn't it? David said, feeling cautious. Yeah, it really is, David. Do you need me to come with you to keep the monsters away? She said with another smile on her face. No. I just need the headlamp. Where is it? It's in our bag. I'll go grab it, David. Okay, thank you, honey. So, I'm gonna go get on my Switch and play a game. Oh, you want to race on Mario Kart, Rose? I guess you haven't learned your lesson yet, have you? That's fine. I'll teach you again, noob, she said, being competitive. Oh, you're on, exclaimed Jeff, as the kid got up and went to the back of the RV. Here, David. Thanks, honey. Oh, by the way, your kids got the competitiveness from you, just saying. Real sneaky of you, isn't it, David? As the door slammed. David was laughing to himself as he got to the power hookup, when he realized that it had been unplugged. That's odd, he thought to himself. He glanced around. Someone would have had to unplug this. It's way too tight just to come out. In the corner of his vision, David seen something. He jerked his headlamp in the direction, thinking something moved. But nothing was there, just a big tree there that his headlamp was illuminating. He decided to go ahead and hook the power up before he investigated further. After a few seconds had passed, and he finished the hookup, David decided to look around. Again, his headlamp lighting the way, when something caught him off guard. The tree that he'd seen before was gone. What in the world? As David started to walk, suddenly, something moved again. David's hair stood on end. His adrenaline started pumping. His body was in full-on fight or flight mode. His lizard brain was telling him to flee, but his instincts as a parent told him to stay and assess the threat. David turned to the sound, and in horror seen 2 large, yellow eyes gazing upon him with hunger. David was frozen with fear, every hair in his body standing straight up. Then something worse happened. The eyes started to come at him from ground level, and the worst part was the noise it produced. A rattling, shaking, sharp groan. It loped on all 6 limbs. And it loped again, and it made that noise. David ran. He ran to the RV, throwing the door shut and locking it, panting harder than he'd ever before, not because of running, but that of fear. Janet, get the kids. Get the kids now. Get them with us now. What's wrong, David? Janet had never seen her husband so shaken up. Get the kids, now. At that moment, the kids had screamed. Rose was beating Jeff, yet again on Mario Kart, sitting on the bed facing the window. As she looked up with a remnant of a smile left on her face into 2 large yellow eyes. Rose's hair stood on end, and she screamed. Jeff screamed. Both in utter terror ran from the room, running into their mother, who was holding Conrad with tears in their eyes. "What's wrong?" Janet exclaimed. "Mom, the yellow eyes. They're real. They were looking at us through the window." Then, all of a sudden, something hit the side of the camper, throwing everyone to the floor and moving the camper 3 foot. Then, a noise sounded. Raya. Janet, getting her footing, looked out the window. A creature that stood 10 foot tall, 4 foot wide, and had 6 limbs, 2 arms, 4 legs. Its eyes were soulless, yellow, and large. Its skin looked like the bark of an old aspen tree, but fleshier. It looked Janet directly in the eyes, and it screeched. David, Janet, Rose, Jeff, and Conrad. The whole family was holding each other, huddling down for protection in the RV. And as a family, they started to cry. They knew they couldn't escape, and they held on to each other for dear life with love, knowing that they would never get away from this creature of evil. David and Janet were shielding their children with terror as the creature tore the RV door off and crawled into it, inching closer and closer and closer to David. Then blackness. Chapter 5. The ritual completed. David, where are you? But no answer came to Janet. Then, in the darkness, she heard her kids laughing. "Mom, what are you doing? Wake up and come play with us," said Rose, smiling. What's going on?" "I said come play with us. We got the campfire going. Dad said grab the popcorn and marshmallows." Shaking her head, Janet was confused for a moment. But what was she thinking? She had a memory about something important. Interrupting the thought again, Rose said, "Mom, come on." Janet, now fully forgetting whatever it was and feeling silly for standing still for so long, decided she must have dozed off. She decided to grab the popcorn and marshmallows and walk to the campfire. Looking at David, she thought maybe he was sad or that he looked different, and she asked, "David, what's wrong, honey?" David, slowly turning his head to his wife, had 2 yellow eyes, and in a voice that sounded nothing like David, he said, "Nothing is wrong, dear. I'm not hungry anymore. I'm just happy to have love from this family." And with an evil smirk, the family's love was his to feed on for the rest of their lives in an endless, if you want to say, happy place. The end.